Average Joe's Drive-In is proudly sponsored by the Maine Cannababes. The Cannababes are a charity group of pro-cannabis women from the state of Maine who are bringing worthy attention to various causes in the medical cannabis community. This year, they launched their very first Maine Cannababes Pinup Calendar, which they are taking pre-orders for as we speak. All the proceeds from the calendar are going to worthy charitable causes. If you are interested in purchasing one or finding out more about the Cannababes, you can go to their website, www.maincannababes.com, or find them on most major forms of social media like Facebook and Instagram. If you order a calendar and enter the code word Average Joe's Drive-In, you could win a chance to get an autographed picture of your favorite Maine Cannababe. Once again, put in the code word Average Joe's Drive-In for a chance to win an autographed picture of your favorite Maine Cannababe.
Welcome to Average Joe's Drive-In, your weekly podcast on movies, music, games, and other things entertainment related. Now, your host, TJ Washburn.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Average Joe's Drive-In. I am your host, TJ Washburn, and with me this week is my friend, Danny McCormick, also known to the world as Danger Kid, one of the members of the Maine State Posse. Danny, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. I can't complain. How are you?
Not too bad. Kind of somewhat enjoying / dreading this weird, abnormally hot autumn weather here in Maine.
Yeah, it's weird. I just got back, actually, from walking around downtown Portland, where I live now, and it was like a nice breeze kind of from the coast, but like it was really oddly hot, and like I was not expecting it when I walked out of my house this morning, and it's rough.
Yeah, I'm not used to almost 90 in Maine in almost September,
yeah.
Almost October.
Yeah, almost October.
Yeah. There's no breeze up here. It's just like super stagnant.
Yeah, that's Maine for you, though, you know? The weather is just so all over the place all the time.
It's supposed to be like in the 30s in the evening later this week, so, you know.
Oh, yeah, of course.
that's Maine for you, but it's unfortunately wreaking havoc on my allergies, so please excuse any pauses I might have to do, audience and Danny.
Of course.
So, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and the whole Danger Kid persona and how that come about, and we'll talk a little bit about it, then we'll get talking about that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, I guess kind of like a bit of backstory. Obviously, growing up, wrestling was my thing. You know, that was the thing I was probably the most passionate about. You know, I never was super into school, and I never, like, had a crazy amount of friends. Like, I found myself growing up, like, playing with myself a lot, like, and then just wrestling was something that was always there for me, and I can't explain it. I really can't, but it's just, like, some crazy passion that I have. I started watching when I was about maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I was addicted to it from there on out. And then, you know, fast forward a little bit, growing up, switched schools a couple times, and wrestling was something that I definitely people made fun of me for, you know, for liking, which is always shitty. You know, I really hate it when people rag on people for just liking what they like, you know, like I've always been one to say, you know, promote what you love and don't bash what you hate, you know, so it doesn't make sense to me. But basically, it was kind of like around high school, I think, entering high school, because, you know, new school district, high school is really where you find yourself. So I kind of put wrestling on the back burner, and it kind of just slowly fizzled out on its own. And I really hate that now, you know, looking back, but that's how it was. I started getting more and more into music. That was more of like a cooler avenue and something that was still there for me, because, you know, a lot of songs like really speak to me as everyone that loves music. You know, just lyrics can really help you on those shitty days. And so kind of just got into music, started playing in bands and stuff, and then fast forward a little bit more to about, like, I think I was like probably 20, maybe 21, and I just kind of was like, one day, I don't know, I can't remember, I think I was like saw wrestling or something like in passing, and I was just like, man, what the, can I swear on here?
Oh, sure.
Is this a...
No, okay, you're good, you can swear.
Okay. Figured I'd check first. I should have asked earlier.
Just don't go off the rails too much, you know.
Oh, yeah,
I don't mind,
absolutely.
But
I'll keep it tasteful. But yeah, so like I saw wrestling one day, and I was just like, man, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I used to love this stuff, and it's still, like, nothing's really changed. Like, I just kind of forced myself out of it because of other people's influence, and that's just totally wrong. And I guess it just took me growing up and experiencing a little bit more of the world and maturing for me to realize that. So I started, slowly watching it again. This was right around the time that the WWE Network had just come out, and they were pushing that, $9.99 and all that. So I got that, and I just kind of started diving back into it. And it had been 6 or 7 years, I believe, since I had stopped watching it. So I had a lot of catching up to do. So I did that, and I found out that there is a local indie promotion called IWE back up in the Bangor area. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So I had a buddy that also liked wrestling, and we got tickets and we went. So we get there when the doors open, I think it was 7 o'clock, and we're going in, but walking past me is another buddy of ours, Jossie Davis, who is now, fast forward, my tag partner. Basically what happened was I was like, hey man, what are you doing here? Because we were kind of more acquaintances than anything. We like knew each other, had a lot of mutual friends, never really hung out by ourselves though or anything like that. And he was like, oh well, I just got done training and now I'm gonna stay for the show and help. I'm just going outside for a smoke. And I was like, wait, training? Like, what do you mean? He explained that it was his first session and he was training to become a wrestler. And it was I can't remember how much it cost, but you paid by the training session. And basically I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it too. And the very next show, so I watched that show, and the very next show I was there. So me and him started at like the same time. He had one training session ahead of me. That was it. And from there on out, we were just, kind of neck and neck through training and there for each other. And then we got to the point where he started wrestling after, I'd say like 7 or 8 months of training. And then we started, wrestling locally, and then we started traveling. So we were always traveling together. And obviously the friendship grew from there during that whole time. So, and now now he's Aiden Agro and I'm Danger Kid, and we are 2/3 of the main state posse, and we travel all over New England, New Jersey, New York, and hopefully further in the future. And now we've been wrestling for about 2.5 years, I'd say we've been having matches.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. I was just thinking, like, I remember seeing you guys starting to, like, post stuff online. Must have been, about 2.5, 3 years ago. I kind of is when I see you guys kind of getting into it. And I was like, and I always thought that was cool because as a kid growing up, I was very much into, I was very much into WWF at the time, and and the old NWA when it was on TBS back before it was WCW, and I was like a diehard wrestling fan for many years. I did kind of peter out of it. I haven't kept up with it since like the Attitude Era of and the Monday Night Wars. That was kind of my. That
was the prime time.
That was kind of the point when I got away from it, so I haven't really kept up with it quite so much. But as with all my people I know, I always love to see what they're doing for different things, and I've known you for quite a while through the music channels, and so it was neat to kind of see how you guys were progressing and you're building up your personas. And kind of working into like where you guys are at now, and it's really cool to see how you guys have expanded in you know, the different roles you've kind of gotten to until where you're at now, and that overall progression has been neat to watch. And I always love checking out the videos and different stuff.
Thanks,
and
man.
It's
I mean, like, we definitely didn't start with aggro and DK. There was one point in time, actually, where the both of us had 3 different personas that we wrestled as in different places, sometimes twice a night. You know, so, like, wear a mask, go out there and do, like, one set of moves and then come back through and have to take everything off and get into another outfit, and then the second half of the show go out there and have a completely different match, you know what I mean? You really can't be doing the same stuff or it's going to be a dead giveaway. So, you know, eventually we I mean, I guess we got a good mix and variety of different styles of wrestling. Wrestling is good guys, wrestling is bad guys, or baby faces and heels is the technical term for it. Singles and tag team wrestling. So I like to think me and him are really well-rounded, and that's because we had all those different characters. But now we're at the point where we fizzled the other ones out, and now we're just DK and aggro, and we're just doing the main state posse, and we're having an absolute blast with it. It's so cool.
And that's the thing, like, from the videos and stuff that I've watched you guys look like you're actually, like, generally enjoying yourself when you're going out. And, like, you know, just everything from, like, your entrances to your matches, you guys look like you're having a good time, you're interacting with the crowd, you know, and I think sometimes you don't see people doing that as in wrestling. From what I've noticed, sometimes people aren't necessarily so like hands-on with the crowd, and that's something I have noticed from watching your videos. You guys seem like you're very fan-orientated, and I think that seemed, you know, help with you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we absolutely love our fans. Us as athletes and entertainers and the shows that we're on, it's all nothing without them. So, you know, I've even going back to music, me and Jossie both have been really big on showmanship and, you know, just making sure that the live experience is something that the paying customer is happy with once they leave.
Yeah.
And with wrestling especially, like, it's something that we just feel. When you come out through the curtain and your entrance music is playing, like, it just, like, it's literally like a switch being flicked, and I don't know, it's just completely, I don't know, you kind of literally become someone else. I guess that's really the best way to put it.
I completely understand that. That was how it always was for me doing music, you know, on stage. As soon as I walked out and that first note rang out, and I just kind of, I don't know, but somebody asked me that one time about, and I have mentioned it on the show several times, but I go back to the point of, I had somebody once tell me they come up and tell me that their friend thought I was awesome, but her friend wouldn't come speak to me because she was, like, scared shitless of me. And,
oh, really?
And anybody knows...
Like, intimidated?
Oh, yeah, intimidated. She's like, and anybody that knows me in person knows I'm pretty much a giant teddy bear, you know?
Oh, my God, absolutely.
So, and that's what I told her. I was like, why? She's like, because the way, like, your eyes roll back up in your head, and when you're screaming, you just look like you're going to rip someone's head off, and you seem
absolutely.
so pissed off. But I'm like, that's on stage, TJ. Off stage is different. Tell her to come over and say hi. And eventually she did. But I mean, I can see that wrestling would very much be the same way. That just adrenaline rush going through, like, that moment, you know, when everything kicks in and you're just in that zone, and that whole wave is, like, overtaking you. And
definitely. I mean, like, wrestling music, there's so many crazy similarities between the two. And at the end of the day, they're both art. And I fully believe that you should be losing yourself in your art and feeling your art. And, you know, especially with a live performance, again, it ties back into that paying live audience. Like, they're here to see something that amazes them and impresses them and suspends their disbelief. And if you just kind of go out there and you don't really include them and you don't have any emotion, then I kind of think you're doing it wrong. Like, you can be the best guitar player in the world, but if you aren't feeling it yourself, if you aren't giving something for the audience to latch onto, then it's just not going to connect as well.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think you could be a good musician, but put your heart into it, and it shows 100 times better than being a phenomenally technical musician who shows no emotion, because I think you connect with the crowd more. So, and it gives them something more, like you said, to latch onto. Now bringing that whole thing up, you work a lot with Limitless Wrestling, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And
we've been. Go ahead.
I said I have noticed, since Limitless is a fairly new company, correct, if I remember right?
Yep, they just had their 2-year anniversary show.
I was going to say a couple of years, and I have noticed from just like looking at pictures and videos, the crowds at their shows are really impressive.
Yeah, it's grown a lot. It's definitely the place to be. It's kind of like one big party, honestly. Like, at least that's what it feels like. We've been with Limitless since the beginning. We started off behind the scenes, doing just everything that we could to help. It really was a small team that got the whole thing off the ground and running. And started off, the first show, I think, was like maybe 120 to maybe 140 people at most. And then we started doing shows in Orono at the Vet Center, one of those halls up there in Orono.
The VFW.
Yep,
the VFW.
Yeah, VFW hall. Yep. We started doing shows there, and we would regularly do about, maybe 200 or so, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. And then from there, we started doing shows in Westbrook. And how that came about was there was another little, kind of like a little sister company of Limitless that was doing shows in South Portland. And we had one coming up. It got canceled 11 days before because there was issues with the venue. I guess the fire department came by and the venue wasn't up to code, so we couldn't have our shows there for this other company. So they kind of scrambled a little bit, and in 11 days' time, they booked a show at the Westbrook Armory, but this one under Limitless Wrestling. And they booked a roster, made a poster, advertised, and had a crazy awesome show. Did about, I think, 150 people or so. And this is all thrown together in about 10 days. So we were like, okay, now let's see what we can do with actual, adequate time to plan and everything. And then the next one, we sold out 400 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what we've been consistently doing at the Westbrook Armory. We've since then stopped having shows in Orono. I can't say for sure if we'll ever be back there or not, but right now, the Westbrook Armory is home to Limitless Wrestling, and it's always 400, 450 people, standing room only, and it's a crazy good time. If you're not sure about local independent wrestling, I would highly recommend that be the place that you go to check it out.
The vibe I get from that, because you guys have some videos and stuff up from those shows. It's very much like an old ECW-ish vibe, just that kind of. Is what I get out of it from looking at it from an outsider perspective. It's kind of that smaller, just real packed in, passionate crowd of people coming to see you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
You got a lot of. It looks like you get a lot of regulars there that are really kind of following the people on the promotion, and really getting to know those teams and solo wrestlers and stuff, and kind of getting your a real established fan base with them.
Of course, yeah. There's a lot of fans that I've come to know just from seeing them so often and at all these shows. And, there's some pretty amazing people, and I can't thank them enough for coming out and supporting us and Limitless and all the other wrestlers on the shows. It's just, like I said earlier, we'd literally be nothing without them. And just the atmosphere that we have going at Limitless right now. Like I said, this past Friday was our 2-year anniversary show. It was just so electric in that room, and it's literally a feeling like performing in front of a crowd like that I can't accurately put into words. It's just something you kind of have to experience for yourself. And even if you're just a fan, like, you can tell, like, being a part of that crowd it's something special, and I think all the fans know that, and so do the wrestlers.
And that's awesome from what because what I've seen over the years with a lot of the smaller independent promotions, because a lot of times, again, where the whole music world and wrestling world, kind of crisscross, is, especially when we used to play shows up north, a lot of times we would kind of run into some of the smaller promotions that were setting up stuff, and just kind of seeing what they were doing and like what we were doing, it was very much a very similar parallel. And you'd talk to some of the guys, and and them talking about wrestling for 50 people or 60 people or whatever, when they traveled 400 miles to do this show. And so it's very similar, I think. So it's awesome when you start to get that kind of like home base vibe, and you get that, that word of mouth spreading and people really coming out and enjoying what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, like we're heels or bad guys pretty much everywhere else we go, because we travel a lot, obviously, like I said earlier. But in Maine, and specifically at Limitless, we have to be good guys. I don't think it could go any other way, even if we wanted it to. The love and support that we always get when we come out of the curtain there, or anywhere in Maine, really, is unreal. People chanting MSP, MSP, and just the vibes that we get it's so surreal. I still don't believe it sometimes. Like, it's really crazy. But like what you were saying, like wrestling and music, definitely, like, there's so many crazy similarities. Like, me and Jossie talk about it all the time, just because we both played in bands and now we're both doing this. And there's a couple key differences, but for the most part, like, being a touring musician and being a touring wrestler is almost exactly the same.
Yeah, you probably have a little less gear to lug, maybe, but...
Oh, yeah, that's one of the keys. Like, it's nice. We just, like, I can kind of fit everything I need into a backpack if I really need it.
You don't necessarily need a van or a large trailer.
Exactly, yeah. We can load up a car with 5 guys and just fill up the trunk with all our stuff, and it'll be a little cramped and may not smell pleasant, but
so that's very similar to a band on a road trip.
Absolutely.
You've ever been on a tour with a band for more than a couple of days, it gets pretty ripe, especially when it's warm. And
yeah, I've done like a week before, and it is. You can only shower so much in like Walmart.
I was gonna say, when you're doing the old washcloth shower in a bathroom.
Yeah, that's key. Baby wipes. Baby wipes are a treat if you don't actually have a place to stay with a shower.
Gold Bond medicated powder is also.
Oh yeah, that too. Yep.
We used to keep a thing of that under the seat in the van just because.
That's smart. That's really smart, actually.
Because there's nothing worse than that when it's like 90 and yeah. So.
Oh my god, yeah, absolutely. And then like outside shows too, like in the summertime, it's worse when you're wrestling, because like I feel like you're doing just a little bit more activity wise, and some rings have like vinyl canvases. Ooh. So like you'll take a move and you gotta just kind of sit there and wait for the next one. But it's so hot, like laying on this canvas, it's like you're like literally burning. Like, it's so bad. So I know what you mean about like so super hot summer days when you're out on tour.
I've got to imagine also with the outdoor shows, especially if the wind picks up, you get that little bit of dirt and grime going through the air, and you're getting kind of scuzzy, and you're trying to do your moves, and everybody's slippery, and
it's a fun time.
Those could be the times I don't know, I could see just like disaster striking. But
oh yeah, I've definitely slipped a couple times, like on just like sweat. Like it can get kind of gross.
Go to do an arm drag and completely slide down the person's
exactly. That's actually why a lot of guys wear wrist tape around their wrists. So like when you have to like hold the guy's arm for an Irish whip rather, or like an arm drag or something like that. Like, you got a little bit more to work with there, because it gets pretty sweaty.
Now there's also a few other Maine musicians that we both are friends with that are also working in the wrestling circles these days too.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan.
Ryan's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, that's specifically who I was talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's great. He's been riding with us lately. He's kind of like, we kind of just have absorbed him into our little group of traveling guys, and I got to commend him, man, because like I was saying earlier about how me and Jossie started training, it really wasn't the most ideal training for us. But Maine also doesn't have a lot to offer as far as training goes. Like, it gave us the tools, and we kind of ran with it after that. But he saved up a bunch of money over a couple of years' time and went off to school in Canada and trained at the Lance Storm Academy. And he was there for 3 months. His car completely died on the trip. And he just, he basically completely dedicated a huge chunk of his life and took a huge chance on wrestling, and I will always have a tremendous amount of respect for Ryan for that reason alone.
Takes a lot of balls to just up and go to a completely different country to train,
Yep, he did it completely by himself too. I think he lived in like a family's basement during that time near the school. That's a guy you should actually have on here.
Oh, I'm going to eventually, sooner or later.
Nice.
I've been friends with Ryan for a long time.
So like I said, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him for that. Plus, he's such a good guy too.
Oh yeah,
so.
Very, very down to earth dude. Very, very awesome person. Now that is the school that the Hart family runs, correct? Or are they associated with it?
No, I don't. I think it's completely different. I don't know too much about the Canadian scene, but the famous Hart Dungeon actually closed down a while ago when they sold the mansion. But I know Teddy Hart is opening up a school pretty soon. But this is all I think more Eastern Canada, and I think he went out to like Western Canada. For some reason I
was thinking that had something to do with the Hearts too, but
yeah, I don't think there's any association. But yeah, normally when you think Canadian wrestling, like that's the name that comes to mind. But Lance Storm is pretty prominent too. Like, he's a wealth of knowledge from what I understand, and a legend in his own right. So it's a good guy to learn from.
Yeah,
he's definitely has successful alumni that has come from that school that proves it. So
even being like not really so much like a diehard fan like I used to be, I'm familiar with the name. So he's fairly well known. So far, like, what has been your most memorable match, and can you tell me about that?
Oh man,
I know. So
there's been a lot. There's because I don't know. I feel like we definitely wrestle way more than we ever performed in bands. We're definitely out there like almost every single weekend, whether it be in Maine or on the road elsewhere. So there's been so many. I never kept track. I wish I had, but I've definitely had like over 200 matches now at this point.
Holy cow.
And yeah, it's crazy. I guess I can name a couple. I don't know if I can pick out just
or
one,
even
honestly.
just even doesn't have to be the whole match, like a specific moment that stands out to you in a match.
I guess one of the more recent ones, like this past Friday, we got to work with a team called Massage NB, who we've worked before, and they're kind of like, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. They have like a massage gimmick, and they bring oil into the mix and everything. It's pretty funny. And then they teamed up with Joey Ryan, who is an international star and very well traveled, obviously, and a pretty big deal. So it was his first time, I believe, ever in Maine, and we got to work with him, and that was pretty memorable. His matches are usually comedy based, and that's really not something that is usually up our alley or something that we do. But for that one night, we we lived it up a little bit, and we had a really good time, and I think the crowd really enjoyed it, and it was just like a lot of fun. All of our spots were really cool, and definitely something I won't forget anytime soon. Another one was recently we're at a place called XWA down in Rhode Island. They run shows every Thursday. It's like $5. I think they're called Thursday Night Throwdowns. And we had a main event match with Ace Romero, who is from Saco, Maine, who lives in Rhode Island now, and he's starting to blow up. He's wrestling for companies like CZW, which is like the real, truly like new age ECW in my opinion, and a couple other like really notable companies. He just main evented Limitless this past Friday, and then JT Dunn, who is also internationally traveled and someone that we respect a lot, and we wrestled him like a year ago. So to see from that test a year ago to having a match with him now and just seeing the differences, it meant a lot, and it was really cool because like it showed ourselves how much we've grown in that time. And for the first time ever, me and Agro got a "please come back" chant, so that was super cool.
Nice.
It really says something when the crowd chants something like that. I don't know, it's a really cool feeling. It's like, wow, you know, even though we're bad guys and we're kind of being dicks right now, like, you guys still appreciate our talent.
Remember, The Rock started off as a heel, okay?
Exactly, yeah. So, like, that's super cool, and, like, stuff like that is just so surreal, and like I said, like, just the chants and the reactions that we get when we just, like, come through the curtain in Maine, like, it's just all of it kind of culminates in my mind as something that just means so much to me, and, like, I'll never forget, and it's just really makes me grateful for, like, all the opportunities and things that we've gotten over the last couple of years when we've been on this crazy adventure.
Yeah, and that's that, and like again, like I said, I love to see people I know getting to pursue their dreams and do the things that they are passionate about, because that to me is like the best thing. I mean, it can be anything, like with you with wrestling, or one of my friends, you know, that's a film director or whatever. But pursuing passions and just seeing like the genuine happiness that brings to somebody is just like the best thing ever, as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man.
It's awesome to see you doing that and having success with it. Now, you guys, you and Jossie are currently holding some belts, or you had 2 or 3 at one time here?
Yeah, we kind of, I don't even know how many we have right now. I know that sounds bad. Like, I know I got 2 sitting, like, right across the room from me right now. We have the NCW Northeast Championship Wrestling and the Atlantic Pro Wrestling tag titles. Those are based out of Salisbury, Mass, and Norwood, Mass, respectively. And so we're regulars at those companies. We had won titles at a place called Nova Promotions that runs in Rhode Island, but I'm not really sure if their doors are still open. They had seasons, and they just canceled the last 2 shows of the season, and I don't really know what's going on. So, like, I don't know if those belts are relevant right now.
Right.
There's another company that we had titles for in Maine, and they've advertised 2 shows now and have canceled both of those. So we're like, we don't really want to be associated with you anymore, but I guess technically on paper we're their tag champions.
Right.
So, I don't know, it's kind of complicated, but, like, sometimes we get caught up with the wrong people, but when we start getting bad vibes, we kind of, like, just back away slowly. But yeah, so we both have definitely had our fair share of gold. I think I've held 6 championships total in my career so far, so
awesome.
Pretty cool. Had a couple singles belts too. We're looking for more too.
Now, do you guys have any plans on taking the Maine State Posse up to Canada at all and showing?
Oh yeah,
showing the Maritimes what it's about.
Yeah, actually, we know a lot of people from up there, and we have had quite a few offers actually to go up there, and, like, people offering to, like, put in good words for us in certain companies, It's just we don't have our passports, and that's something that we've been trying to score for a while now. It's just like we both haven't really had the extra cash because, you know, we've had to put other things first, like new gear and obviously filling up the tank for going to these shows that we already have commitments to and all that. So it hasn't happened yet, but I am really hoping to at least have applied for my passport by the end of the year. And hopefully in 2018 we can get the Maine State Posse up there, because I know as soon as we get those passports and we just let a couple people know that we have them and we're good to go, we can get up there with ease. So that's definitely in the cards, on our radar, and I think it will be a reality in 2018.
That'll be awesome. I hope you guys keep, you know, expanding and getting to show everybody what you're all about, because it's, like I said, man,
absolutely,
it's a good thing you guys got going on.
Yeah, we might be going to Delaware soon. I want to get out to Pennsylvania next year, probably. And, you know, even further than that, I'd love to get out to Ohio. I'm thinking about going down to New Orleans for WrestleMania week, which would be in April next year. There's usually a bunch of indie shows going on leading up to WrestleMania, wherever it's held. So thinking about going down there, just kind of funding the trip myself and seeing if I can network and pick up some work anywhere, and overall just kind of have myself a little vacation, because I haven't really had one of those. You know, it's pretty much just been all travel for wrestling, and unfortunately a lot of times it's, you know, you drive to the show, you get there, you help set up, do the show, you help take everything down, and then you go home. You don't really get to see a whole lot of the towns that you're seeing for the first time. It's really just what you get to see and take in on your drive in.
Very similar to music.
So that's exactly. So that's like an unfortunate part. But I mean, I'm still so grateful to have seen so many new places and met so many awesome people from so many different places that I wouldn't have met before. But yeah, so like New Orleans next year might be a thing. But yeah, we're always looking to expand, and we're trying to get further and further out there, because that's really the name of the game.
Is networking, getting your name out there, most definitely. And I think, I think with, again, like a lot of artistic avenues, the you know, social media, I think, is a big help in that, and spreading the word and getting people to be able to interact with people, and, you know,
it plays such a huge role, like more than people realize, I think. And I'm hopelessly addicted to it, I will admit that.
I think most everybody
like, Instagram's my thing.
I have definitely started drifting more towards Instagram than Facebook personally, but
I prefer it way more. I'm starting to use Twitter a lot more than I ever have before, and I'm realizing that it's such a crucial thing, especially for wrestlers, just because like a lot of it is just knowing the right people. Like, networking is so huge, and like, so you got to have continuous flow of content online for people to share around and for new people to see and stuff. If you're not active, then, like, you know, you're not using it to your full potential. To its full potential.
Oh,
you know, so.
Exactly. I mean, I have a Twitter, but I don't really... I will be honest, I don't personally man it. It's connected to all my other social media accounts, so whenever I post something, it just automatically goes on there. I don't know. I've never gotten into it. It always seems like there's too much politics in Twitter. And I absolutely am disgusted and hate politics, so I just avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah, I just use that block and unfollow button to the fullest, you know. If I just see someone posting stuff I just don't care for, I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to look at your stuff anymore, and then I just get rid of them.
Yeah,
it's kind of the glory of it.
While I respect anybody's opinion on stuff, I definitely have my own set of views, and you know, I don't get onto it on the show because this is not what my show is about, but you know, I just, if you're somebody that just is, I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on for politics, if you post a lot of political shit, chances are I've probably unfollowed you, and I'm not even seeing anything you're posting, because you know,
especially like on Facebook, like I have a lot of fans, a lot of wrestling fans that add me on Facebook, and like people I don't believe I've ever met, people I don't believe I've ever seen, and you know, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, I'll accept it, because like maybe they'll see an event that I share that's in their area that they didn't know about before. So, like, I have a ton of friends on Facebook, but I don't know even nearly most of them. So, like, that unfollow button is crucial for, like, my feed when I'm just scrolling for my own enjoyment. Because otherwise, like, I've been, like, there's some people that have added me that just post some weird stuff and outlandish stuff, too. But I really can't. I'm, like, kind of like a public figure now, so I really can't, get into it. Not that I would anyways, because it's not my personality type, but I kind of have to play it neutral. So I just unfollow people, occasionally block people when I have to, but that's pretty much the name of the game is social media, There's going to be people on there that are going to post stuff that you don't agree with, but, if you just choose not to get into the middle of it and just kind of look the other way, unless something is worth speaking up about, if someone's being ignorant, I am not going to do that. But, at the end of the day, just keep it neutral and just, again, it goes back to promote what you love instead of bashing what you hate,
exactly.
And I just wish more people would follow up on that.
That is a beautiful saying, because I wholeheartedly agree with you on that, man. Wholeheartedly agree with you on that. Before we switch gears and get talking about movies, because, that's part of what Average Joe's Drive-In is all about.
Of course.
You got any links or anything you want to throw out where people can check out Main State Posse, Limitless Wrestling, or any of that stuff? Or your personal pages?
Absolutely. We have a Main State Posse Facebook page and Instagram. It's just, just look it up. I'm not sure the exact link.
I'll tag all the links for you in when I post it. So.
Sick. There's also a Danger Kid Facebook page, and my Instagram and my Twitter handles, I believe, are the same. I believe it is I Am the Danger Kid.
Okay.
So just at I Am the Danger Kid on both Twitter and Instagram. You can go follow me on those. I'm pretty active. I try to be, like I said. So those are pretty much the links I have to put over right now. I think there might be a Main State Posse website in the works, but it's not active or live yet, and I'm not really sure when it will be.
You guys do have some gear available too, correct?
Yeah, we do. We just restocked our shirts. We have a couple cool designs. I will ship them out personally to people. If anybody wants to make something happen, you can just find me on social media, send me a message, and I can show you what they look like, and we can talk business. And like I said, that DIY aspect of things, I'll package everything up and send it to you myself.
Now I have a question before we switch gears, because I did want to ask you about this. You guys had a bunch of stuff stolen at a show not too long ago too, correct?
Yeah, we did. It was on me. It was an unfortunate thing that happened. We were at I was at a fair show for, a couple consecutive days. It was a big stretch of shows. And so the end of the week rolls around, and we're about to go out of state on a Friday to another show. And I go to count the money that I'd earned at the fair from selling stuff all week, and none of it was in there. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, I can't remember how much it was. It wasn't everything that we had, but everything that I had earned from selling product that week. So that was gone. And then we got to the show that night, and we had our merch set up, and my girlfriend was running the table, and we have an inventory. We keep track of everything that we sell, so we know what we still have on hand, so you don't have to just dig through the bin hoping to find the size that someone
exactly.
wants.
I know all about that.
Yeah, exactly. So someone was trying to buy an extra large shirt, and we should have had 3 left, and we had none. And then we realized that there were more sizes that were gone too, of both our shorts and our shirts that we had. So all in all, we lost about anywhere from $200 to $300 worth of cash and product. So that was kind of a dig, because that was all profit too. Like, we had already made our money back from what we had, but that was all in the green money and whatnot.
And I'm sure, I'm sure you're a lot like we used to be in bands that, once you're in the green, you're kind of counting on a lot of that money to re-up your merch. And,
Exactly. And so that happened. That was really unfortunate. But, I'm not trying to dwell on it or anything. I just hope that whoever took the shirts and the clothing and everything, maybe they didn't have a lot of clothing or something. I don't know. I just hope that whoever took it can get some good use out of what they took. It's really unfortunate, and I hate that someone would do that and take advantage of someone else's misfortune. It was on me, though. I left the stuff unattended. It was only for 5 minutes, but that's long enough.
Unfortunately, it is.
And I will never find out who it is, but that is what it is. It happens. I had a lot of support out of it from people coming out of the woodwork and just, hey, I'll buy something else that you have left. Because, we didn't lose everything, and now it could have been worse, basically. But we had a lot of support, and I sold a bunch of stuff and, again, shipped them out myself, and we had just enough money to kind of restock everything, our 2 lines of shirts. So we just got that, and now we're kind of getting back on track. So we could have been completely behind. We ended up breaking even on everything, that particular run of merchandise, which does suck, but like I said, it could have been worse.
There were some positives that did come out of it then,
Yeah. Not trying to dwell, but it is an unfortunate situation, and I was kicking myself in the ass pretty hard that it happened on my watch, but the guys were really good about it. They understood, and we're back on track now, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's good to have understanding, mates and people that support you, and that whole thing, that everybody kind of rallied around the situation and turned it from being a real shitty negative one into at least yeah. a life lesson, if nothing else, right?
Exactly. Definitely learned.
So we were talking a little bit before just about movie stuff, and we were kind of having a hard time figuring out what we wanted to talk about. So you mentioned Chris Farley. Now, Chris Farley is one of my absolute favorite comedic actors ever. So
oh yeah, mine too, hands down.
Unfortunately, we didn't get a super lot of time with Chris as an actor, and we only got a handful of films, but I gotta say, I pretty much love them all, even Almost Heroes, which isn't that great, but I still enjoy it, for what it is.
Yeah, he was gone way too soon, man. That was a guy I really wish I could have just met in person, because his movies brought a lot of joy to my childhood, honestly. I really appreciated his work. I'd probably say, Tommy Boy was my favorite of all of his stuff, but everything he did was gold. Even his Saturday Night Live stuff was just so unbelievable, so funny. So that guy was unfortunately gone way too soon.
The Matt Foley character on Saturday Night Live will be forever what I think about, when I think of Chris Farley,
Yeah.
You're living in a van down by the river. That whole thing was just killed me.
Probably one of my favorites.
He was such a physical comic for a big guy. He just was on 10 all the time and bouncing around and just.
Yeah, exactly. He connected with the audience, and that's what I loved about him too. He was so physical. He was crazy. He was just out of his mind in most of those skits, and I absolutely loved it, and I really feel like that's what a lot of people
Chris Farley always reminded me of that one friend I think we all have that is just on 10 all the time, no matter what. They're just kind of, I think we've all got at least one friend in our lives that's he's the comic relief, they're the comic relief, and they're
we need those people.
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. But they balance out all of us that are kind of serious all the time. And
exactly.
Now, my favorite Chris Farley movie is Beverly Hills Ninja. I've definitely seen that.
Oh,
I have definitely seen that more than the other ones.
Yeah, no, that one was amazing, too. I remember I had the VHS tape of that.
I still do.
I watched that a lot when I was a kid. Nice.
I have all of his starring role films on DVD, and I have a couple of them on VHS still. But
good on you.
So we were talking about him. We were talking about Adam Sandler. Now, early Sandler, like Happy Gilmore and The Waterboy and stuff like that, is just classic.
Oh yeah, those are the prime ones. you really can't beat a lot of Adam Sandler's early work, and it's kind of proven, unfortunately. Like I haven't seen too many like recent movies in general, let alone his. But like I prefer his older stuff way more.
I've only seen a few of his newer ones, and I really wasn't. It really just wasn't my thing.
I think the last thing that he did that I really enjoyed was 8 Crazy Nights,
which I've never. That's one I've never seen.
Really?
I've never seen 8 Crazy Nights.
Man.
That's one of the ones.
That's intense.
It's what I've actually been meaning to check out. I just have.
You absolutely have to. I'm shocked that you've never
I think
seen
the
that.
last thing of his that I saw that I kind of liked was Grown Ups. Wasn't too bad. I didn't mind that one.
I didn't see that one.
That one was a little bit more of a kind of a throwback to the older Sandler style, from...
Yeah. That's cool. Maybe I should...
It's got a good cast, David Spade, Chris Rock, Kevin James, so...
I do remember seeing that when I saw the previews for that way back when it came out. I like David Spade a lot, too.
And, the girl that was in From Dusk Till Dawn, and I can never remember her name.
I can't either.
She's
absolutely
gorgeous. I can't. Wow. I'm gonna this is my wheelhouse, and I'm having a total brain cramp on names. This is where I excel, is knowing random movie crap.
See, I definitely don't. I never remember anything from movies. I'm awful. I have to be reminded. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that Beverly Hills Ninja existed until you said that. I'm so bad.
Go out and
rewatch that because
I know. I'm actually I pulled down my my tub of DVDs because I haven't put them away since I moved to Portland. So I'm kind of taking a old gander right now, as we're talking, at some of the stuff that happened. Man, I haven't watched some of this stuff in years, and I'm kind of getting inspired to right now.
I recently have been going through a bit of a nostalgia run. I watched a film called Adjust Your Tracking, which was all about VHS movie collecting. People that do it now, collect old school VHS stuff, and they have these insane collections of 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 VHS films, and I happened to. It was kind of weird because shortly before that, I found a box of my old VHS movies of what I had left, and I hadn't seen some of these films in years. It's stuff that I've never repurchased or whatever, so I've kind of been picking some VHS films up lately, and a lot of what I've been picking up is honestly, it's either horror that I haven't seen or hard to find type stuff, or 80s comedies like John Candy movies that I love. And
John Candy was awesome too.
He was another one that died way too young, unfortunately.
I agree.
I need to find Canadian Bacon, which I think is a very underrated John Candy film. That was actually the last film that was released with him in it, I believe. It's a great film.
I go thrifting all the time. I'll have to keep my eye out for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to track down. But luckily, I shop at a place called Bull Moose a lot. I probably shouldn't give this away because this is where I find all my VHS stuff. They have the 30-cent VHS movie rack. So every time I go to Bull Moose, which is a weekly excursion for me because that's my favorite store on the whole planet.
I have to agree. It's one of my favorites.
I go there a lot for movies, books, music, whatever, games.
Anything. There's so much stuff
anything.
there.
That's pretty much my go-to. So I always take a look and see what they have, and pick up a few things because it's cheap fun, cheap entertainment.
Exactly.
So
why wouldn't you?
So I've been picking up. I found a couple old Monty Python films that I hadn't seen in a long time, and because I love dry British humor. So. Now, I got a question. Do you have a favorite wrestling movie? Seeing, you are a wrestler. Is it?
Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with, The Wrestler, the movie.
Oh,
with Mickey
God,
Rourke.
what a good movie. That's a tough movie to watch, though, man.
Yeah, I haven't watched it since I've become a wrestler myself, and now I feel like I kind of have to. I have the DVD of it, so I think I might have to, because I remember watching it back when I like was getting back into wrestling, and so now it's been a couple years, and I have all this knowledge of like inside the business. So like I really should rewatch that one and kind of compare it and see if it is a lot of what it's like from what I can remember. But I really should.
Yeah, it
watch
would be
it back.
interesting to see the comparisons, you know, to what you actually have experienced and know now, and kind of the different
absolutely.
things. Yeah, that was a great performance by him in that. But it's definitely one of those movies that's it's a hard movie to watch. It really not hard in the fact that it's bad.
Story.
It's just the story is just so like brutal. It's just hard.
It'll like rip your heart out.
Oh yeah.
On the floor. Elbow drop.
You feel so bad for the poor guy, and just all the bullshit that he deals with, and so.
I feel like it's fairly accurate too. Like I feel like a lot of those old timers, the legends and veterans of wrestling, like now, like some of them I know are living pretty rough lives. Like Perry Saturn is going through a lot of shit
I've seen
lately
his health,
from what I've seen online, and
like from what I've seen.
He looks so bad. Bobby Heenan, just rest in peace. He just passed away recently, and he was looking just so awful before he passed a couple years. Like I don't know if you saw pictures of him, but it was rough. If you hadn't told someone that walked into the room that he was in, like, and they didn't know what he looked like now, they probably wouldn't have been able to recognize him. It was really unfortunate and sad. Kamala, he had type 2 diabetes come on, and he now has no legs.
Wow.
So like, just a lot of those old guys are just going through such a rough time and putting their bodies on the line for all those years for the sake of entertaining people. It's pretty crazy stuff, It's sad.
Does that ever make you think of like what you're doing, and like, am I making the right career choice here, or is that? I'm kind of curious. Is that something you think?
I kind of think about that. Yes, I mean, I absolutely think about stuff like that all the time, like that, and just generally like the future and what I'm doing. Like, is this a mistake? But at the same time, I've always been a very like live in the moment type of person, and I'm enjoying the fuck out of what I do right now, and I have absolutely no regrets, and I will worry about life and any bad situation that wrestling may bring my life down later on when I get there, I guess. I'm not worried about it right now, and that may be a really dumb mindset to have, but at the end of the day, I'm doing what I love, and I'm blessed to be doing what I love, and I can't get past that, so I'm going to keep doing what I love.
All right, man. Well, that's a good way to look at things, and it's a positive way to look at it and go about it, man. All right, well, we are hit right around the hour mark here, so I'm going to wrap things up, and once again, man, thank you so much for coming on. It was great to talk with you and catch up a little bit and see all the cool stuff you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
I just want to thank my sponsors real quick, the Maine Cannababes. You can check them out, www.mainecannababes.com. Again, if you place an order, enter the code word Average Joe's Drive-In, and you have a chance to win a picture of your free Maine Cannababe. Anybody that's listening to the show that has a business that's interested in sponsoring the podcast, hit me up at subterfugeproductions@yahoo.com. You can check out Average Joe's Drive-In on Facebook at Average Joe's Drive-In Podcast. Check me out on Instagram, Thomas Washburn Jr., www.thomaswashburnjr.com. And I'm on the Twitter, even though I'm not on there that much. You can still catch some information that way. And I will be sure to post links to all of Danny's stuff in the show descriptions, and I'll tag you and all that good stuff when I get the episode up, which doesn't usually take me very long. So once again, man, thank you so much for coming on, and good luck with all your upcoming matches and your continued success. Thank you, man, and good luck to you on the podcast.
definitely, now that, like, I've been on, like, I'm going to look out for more episodes and check those out and probably check out some of the old ones. So, cool little thing you're doing, man. I really appreciate you having me on.
Definitely, for sure. And, again, I'd like to thank everybody for listening to Average Joe's Drive-In. I am your host, TJ Washburn, and I will see you sexy animals on the flip side.